Well, it's Friday morning. First Friday I've had off in maybe almost 2 years, and I'm here with Joe Gunter. We're up what they call Left Copeland, also known as Little Copeland, the old timers, and just up past the next to the first home site up here after you cross the creek. According to the Prince papers, this area right about here supposed to be about 8 baby graves. Didn't really find anything, but pretty much dead on based on the directions from one of the old timers. Well, today we're hiking with Joe, and again we're up on the left side of Copeland. And this farm area right here, the Lewis family had it. And the story goes that when the Lewis family was getting ready to move west, their oldest son wanted to stay here because he married a local girl. Preacher Morgan had a daughter who had lost 2 husbands in a very young age. She got married like when she was 16, 17. Husband died of tuberculosis, got married again, husband died again. So everybody's kind of scared. She had kind of a black widow syndrome going on. So Preacher Morgan told old man Lewis that if he'd take his daughter with him going west, that his oldest son could have this piece of land right here. So his daughter went west, and the story goes, and I heard this from like her great grandson, that they went west and somewhere around Nashville somewhere, she ended up marrying the old Lewis man who lost his wife, and they went on and moved to Missouri and ended up having a very large family, like 8 kids, and they all lived a long, happy life together. So a little history about the Smokies. You walk up the right side of Big Copeland, down below the OST, Old Settlers Trail. The old road's on the bank on that far side, and you can see it pretty plainly, and you can get some tough road. If you walk across the ditch above the George Sizemore old home place, come up the hillside, you find the old Sizemore Cemetery. George Washington Sizemore's family. Some very early settlers. All the stones are today unreadable. They were readable, some of them were readable back in the 1960s. And I've been lucky enough to hike in here with one of the great grandsons of George Sizemore, and found out about 5 or 6 more of the people who are buried here. This is one of the most sacred, remote cemeteries in the Smoky Mountains National Park. Me and Joe don't hear a thing. No cars, no nothing. Okay, this is the spring house of my second great grandpa on my mother's side, John George Washington Morgan, who was a preacher and was a preacher at the main church in Greenbrier at one time, then moved over here to Wright Copeland. And that's his spring house. It's one of those creeks full of pretty courts. And there's all that's left of the chimney. Then up here on the hill, which we're getting ready to walk to next, is where the cemetery is at. Here I am with Joe. We're at the Mullins Cemetery. Very old cemetery. Mullins are buried down in there. Morgans are buried down to there. Some Lindsays are buried up in here. There's a few old Whaleys in here from Penson Whaley's group. Let's preserve a little history here before this one totally breaks away. R.C. Lindsay, born July 5th, 1856, died September 27th, 1921. I guess that's Roger Lindsay or Roscoe Lindsay. We'll have to do a little research on that. And Joe's right down there where my Morgans are buried at.
That'd be a good Boy Scout project for somebody getting their Eagle Scout or something like that.
Me and Joe here looking at, this is the grave of my second great grandpa, John George Washington Morgan, whose son, married a Mullins, and that's the reason this is named Mullins Cemetery, because his son John used to live down at the bottom of the hill, sold out to the park, and the park named it Mullins Cemetery. I don't think there's any Mullins buried here. It's maybe a few right down there, but most of them are Whaleys, Morgans, Lindsays, and that's about it.